Everybody, welcome back to Just a Guy with a Beer. This is episode number 5, and tonight we are doing our first on-location show, and we are at These Guys Brewing on Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut. And you can see behind me, this place is very cool. It's a very small-ish, hometownish kind of place, and I like it here. And my guest is a very welcome member here. He's are you part owner or what? I think you're probably part owner. You definitely have your own vibe. You come in and they got your drink ready to go.
Yeah, I would never assume to be a owner of a restaurant. Way too hard.
Yeah. So my guest tonight is Coach Jeff Lane. And Jeff and I have known each other for a few years. I coached your son at NFA in lacrosse, and we've become good friends. And he's a mentor to me for my coaching and life in general. So welcome to the show, Jeff. Thanks for coming on.
Very kind of you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So we're here at These Guys. So of course, if you remember episode number 4, we had Becca and her husband Ray came to my house, and we did it down in the basement, and they brought some great beers. And my show from the other night was kind of I did a short 20-minute show the other night, and I had some technical difficulties, and I didn't get it out, and I kind of got frustrated with it all, and I just deleted it. But I started talking about everybody who didn't already know or didn't see my post that These Guys Brewing Company has become a title sponsor for Just a Guy with a Beer. So thank you, Becca and Ray. I love having them on. It's my first brewery, and I'm super stoked to have them because this is a favorite place of mine, and I'm glad to have them. So tell me now, how did you get involved with these guys, and how did you become like the norm?
Yeah, my first interaction with Becca and Ray, and two of the most awesome people ever. They're huge community supporters, and we've grown to love them. But my first interaction with them was after they first opened. We had a memorial service for a friend that had passed, and a band that we've been associated with now for the better part of 10 years was supposed to play in Mystic, and they get to Mystic, and there's about 50 of us who had just set up for a memorial service the next day, who are in tow. So we're going to this location in Mystic that I made unnamed, and we get there and they double booked. And the guys walk in and say, "You've double booked, but I got 50, 60 people with us." And they said, "Sorry." And so there's 60 of us wanting to hear this band play. He was associated with the friend that had passed. They were very close. And I called, I happened to have Ray and Becca's number. I had Ray's number at the time. And I called and said, "Here's what we got, here's what's going on. These guys just want to set up and play to a group of people." So we brought 60 people here, the band set up, and they just let us play here. And we enjoyed the atmosphere in the company. It was sort of a beautiful relationship because they did something for us when we were in need.
That's awesome.
They're always doing it.
And then that also automatically qualifies for loyalty right there. I mean, you're along the same grade as I am. Loyalty is everything. You give somebody your word, or you're loyal to somebody, that means something. Still, even with in the time that we're living in right now, everything's crazy. We still have people that value those kind of qualities in people, loyalty, and dedicated to the people that they know, and now you've formed a lifetime connection with these people.
I don't like to ask. I don't like to ask for favors. I don't like that. It's not my DNA. And when we were, it was kind of a big ask. Hey, can we just take over your bar? That's really what we were asking.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot. And we were trying to set up, and we had a phenomenal time. They were just, and they've been warm and welcoming ever since. And everything they do, we follow them because there's a lot of love that we put in this place. The staff here is so awesome. It's like a second family. And it's not. I'm not a bar per se, but
right.
But we all pick our spots, and this is one of my top. It's the pinnacle of where I go, and I go several places. But this right here, I feel the most in tune, and I feel the most love from the staff. And they really make me feel like I'm important. And it's everybody.
And I like that because, and I felt that as soon as I walked in the door, Carly, the general manager, she met me at the door, and she knew my name. She's like, "Scott." I'm like, "Yes." And it immediately made me feel welcome. And then the bartender had a beer for me. She knew that I liked it. She poured me a beer. And her name is
Tabitha.
Yes. So she
Cabot's one of the brewers here.
Yes, Cabot is one of the brewers here, and she had she knew what beers that I liked, and she watched the show, so she poured me a beer, and she went in the back, and she got me one right out of the back, and it was, that's why this is the kind of place that you like to go, because you feel at home, and they treat you good, and it's the kind of place you want to come back to, and you want to hang out at. Like, you look around here, and it's, I don't know what the style is, I'm not up to that. I don't watch enough HGTV, I guess. But you see, it's like, it's kind of I say rustic, but it's like old school. There's, awards all over the wall, and they got this really cool sign up. We watched the show with Becca was on. I talked about this cool sign that was made. I think she said 10,000 nails.
Yeah, it's gonna be they're like sheetrock screws that are
Yes, it's so awesome. Sure. Yes, it's a very cool sign right under my sign, and right above my sign. And you can't see because Jeff's there, but I had Carly put these guys sticker on there, so they're the first people to put it on there. So I will put that picture up on the website. I got a picture of her putting it up there. So this is, hey, listen, this is a beer show, so we're gonna drink some beers. So we were gonna drink the sours, but I already reviewed the sours on the show, so I let Jeff pick the beer tonight we were gonna drink. So what did we pick, and why did you pick this one?
Well, so we picked Kaiser Willie, and we picked Kaiser Willie because it's Becca's flagship beer. She went through, I think, 14 different iterations for this. If the last episode with Becca serves correctly, she went through a lot of different iterations before she got what she thought was amazing. And she bounced stuff off the people that love her most, that will be most critical of her. And I think the best thing you can do with somebody is if I love the saying, I love you enough to hurt your feelings if I think it'll do you good. So she was the people that were honest with her, and she came up with a champ. And this is an Imperial Oatmeal Stout, and I am not a stout guy.
Me neither.
I'm not a beer guy. I love beer, but there's other stuff that I enjoy when I'm enjoying adult beverages. I just enjoy something else.
Right. We'll get into that.
But this right here, the Imperial Oatmeal Stout, and it's delicious. It's its own dessert.
Yeah, it's got a 9%. The ABV is 9%, so it's pretty heavy. So I will be honest. I never had this before, and you said, "Have let's do Kaiser Willie." I said, "Okay, sure, I'm down." And then when Tabitha poured it and brought it over, I saw that it was a stout. I was like, "Oh boy!" But I will never turn down a beer, ever. And I'm going to drink this, and I will bet you that it's probably awesome.
I love that you let me order for you. It's kind of like a date.
Yeah, it's kind of like a date. No, but listen, you're my guest, and I like to have brewers on, or beer people on. But you are natural. We're friends. I know a lot about you, and I thought you'd be perfect for this, and especially here. So when I have my guests on, I like them to pick what beers we're going to drink, so that's why.
I mean, I totally appreciate what you're doing, because you're bringing attention to local businesses, and local love's a huge thing. When we look at what we've got going on just in the surrounding community with the breweries that we have here, just in southeastern Connecticut, we've got some amazing talent here in both breweries and the restaurants attached to them. If they're gastropubs or they're microbrews or they're restaurants that also brew beer, or they're breweries that also serve food, there's a lot of great stuff here.
Yes.
And so this being Becca's flagship, let's do that one. And you have an affinity for it. Your taste buds may say, no, I love this and I don't like this. This might not be for you, but I got to tell you, when they brought it over, you can see mine's a little bit lower than Scott's already.
You pulled on it already. That's okay. That's all right.
Just because I'm not a stout guy, but a couple of sips and a couple of your taste buds evolve. I believe it.
And listen, I don't stouts aren't my thing, but I don't dislike them. I'm like, if you told me it was a barley wine, I'm gonna like, I'm not a barley wine kind of guy. I don't know. It's kind of a weird.
Hefeweizen for me.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Barley wine is kind of like an acquired taste, and I have not acquired that taste yet. So I've had it, and I'm not a fan. But
Scotch.
Yeah. Like there's one Scotch that just tastes like you're eating dirt, drinking dirt.
Oh, that's really peaty.
Yes, very peaty. Yes, I don't even know what that means.
I've never eaten.
I smelled peat moss before, but I don't.
This one tastes like dirt.
Yeah, it tastes like dirt.
You eat a lot of dirt?
Yeah, it was a Scottish whiskey, and it was terrible. Yeah, somebody brought it over. I had a whiskey tasting at the house years ago, And when we first moved in, and everybody brought a bottle, and we all tasted it. It was fun. And the cool part about hosting was everyone left their bottles. But I made the guy who brought that bottle of whiskey. I was like, oh, you can take that with you. It's going to sit in my closet, and no one's drinking it.
Like here, I guess I got this. Like, do you trust their food?
Yeah.
The Scottish aren't really known haggis.
No, haggis, right?
But
fish and chips, though. I've been to Scotland several times, and there is no better food when you've had a couple Chardonnays at dinner, and it's 2 a.m. and you're walking down the street back to the Liberty boat to get back to the ship, and you see this little fish and chip stand, and they serve it to you in an old dirty newspaper. Oh my God!
No, I get it. And great snack. I mean, Tijuana has the bacon wrapped hot dogs.
Yeah.
They are not.
PJ, dog on a stick.
Products are
dog on a stick.
But yeah, no, I get it. But I mean, I don't know that I would trust the liquor based on that.
No. I scored some great stuff. I scored some Oceans. I scored some Woodruff Reserve. So I scored some good stuff. I got the one with the cool little guy on top on the cork, the Kentucky Derby one. So
you're talking about bourbons?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's been here.
Yeah, that was great. I still have that little guy, little metal guy on top of the. I mean, Jefferson's Ocean is like the best thing I've ever drank.
Right there. You can actually see.
Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. Okay, cool. All right, so we're getting off track. This is Kaiser Willie by these guys. This is Becca's flagship.
It's her favorite.
And it's her favorite, so I'm going to have it in honor of Becca. Thanks for having me here, and thanks for becoming a sponsor. I love it. That's good.
It's delicious.
I really like that.
If you like coffee, chocolate, and America,
Yes. In America.
I like this beer.
So yes, that was what I immediately as soon as it hit my mouth, I immediately got the coffee. Immediately, I got coffee and I got a little bit of chocolate on the back. So this is quality. I really like this.
Vanilla finish to it.
I was thinking it was like I'm going to have to chew this when I put it in my mouth. So it's very easy. It's easy drinking. It's very smooth, and I will definitely drink this. Definitely. So this is very good choice, brother.
I'm 1 for 1. How many of these are we going to do? Is it 12? Okay.
Unless we're calling it Uber.
Yeah, no, I've got. I've got.
All right. So we also have another drink on the table. Is your drink? And what are you drinking? What's in your glass there?
So that's Jack Daniels on the rocks with just a splash of vodka.
And that's what I know you to drink. Every time we hang out together, we've been here, whatever. You're drinking Jack. So now you have a special relationship with Jack Daniels. Why don't you tell us?
Well, I do. It's not really worthy of a 12-step yet. But
No,
it's
I
a
mean,
special thing.
when I say a special relationship, I mean like you have something cool about Jack Daniels that you are personally involved
Yeah,
in.
so I'm what's known as the Tennessee Squire, and that's it's a designation that you're nominated for by another squire. And what squire is a squire is somebody who is a lover of Jack Daniels, and a de facto brand ambassador. Who, when they talk about Jack Daniels, they talk nicely about it, and I tend to do that.
I always talk nicely about Jack Daniels,
Yeah, I mean,
except the next day.
Well, it's not.
I don't say anything nice about it the next day.
He's kicked my butt a few times, but like it's not like Mr. Daniels is going to come and come and get me. But what is important is that it's, for me it's got a perceivable favorable. I don't dance on bar tops like people. I shouldn't ride these little jeeps when I drink it. I tend to be sociable, friendly, and it's a great sipping whiskey. It's when I go out and when I'm having a adult beverage and I'm enjoying myself, that's typically my drink of choice. I know a lot about it, and it's when you like something, you tend to kind of dig into it.
Right. Yep. Well, that's why I'm here. I'm a beer guy, so I mean.
Oh, you like beer?
I do like beer.
It all makes sense now.
That's why I'm here. I mean, that's why. Listen, if
It just came together.
we had the same kind of thing with beer, I would totally be on board with that. So now, if you're a Tennessee Squire, What does that afford you? What does that give you?
So, if you've ever been to Lynchburg, Tennessee,
I have not yet.
okay, so
Bucket list.
so Jack Daniels still gives tours of their distillery, and they only make it in one spot. It's in Lynchburg, Tennessee. It's made from a freshwater spring. It's an absolutely beautiful, clean spring. You actually can see the spring on the tour. So it's still only made one place in the world. They don't contract distill with anybody else. They have, I believe, 13 different barrel houses throughout the property. That's so that if fires happen every now and then. In fact,
Right.
Jim Beam just lost a ton.
I saw that. Terrible. It almost made me cry. Yeah. It's terrible.
But so Jack Daniels will not put barrel houses in a certain proximity so that they can't lose two.
Okay. That's
So
good. That's a good idea.
that's really the
Makes sense. Some redundancy there. Yeah, it's good.
engaging, right? So you can lose one, but you're not going to lose all.
Yep.
So Squires actually get preferred parking when you go on the tour. There's
Right.
Squire only parking, and there's a place on the property called the Squire House. And in the Squire House, you get to sit and you get to talk to people that have been in the distillery for most of their lives. There's a gentleman named Goose that's actually down there, and Goose is a storyteller. He's a big old guy that wears overalls and he's got a cane, and he knows everything there is to know about Jack Daniels and everybody that's worked here in his lifetime.
That's awesome.
He knows about Uncle Nearest, who was a former slave that actually taught Jack Daniels how to distill whiskey when Jack Daniels was about 10 years old.
Wow.
And so Uncle Nearest's family, his descendants just came out with Uncle Nearest whiskey, and it's about a 9 proof whiskey, and it's delicious.
Where do you get that?
Actually, down the street at I don't want to plug anybody unnecessarily, but at PK's.
Okay.
She had it.
I'd like to try that. Yeah, I'd like to try that.
And it was very smooth. I did try it, and I tried it enough where that I don't have any left.
So I don't know. We may have talked about this before. I have a bucket list whiskey. My bucket list whiskey is Sinatra Blend, the Jack Daniels Sinatra Blend. That is the top of my list of all whiskeys that I want to drink.
You will have mine. I have. Yeah, I'm getting a bottle of that and 27 gold.
Oh wow!
Which are and they're different blends. So every bottle of Jack Daniels is made from about 27 different barrels
Right.
of whiskey. So they blend it until the tasters and still masters decide that if it's the right consistency and
Right.
taste. They want consistent flavor. Like when I drink it, I think bananas and vanilla. It's a very sweet whiskey.
Yeah, that's interesting. I used to think when I drink a whiskey, I think vanilla too. I never said bananas. That's kind of cool though. So that's something you can pay attention to. Yeah.
It's almost like when you drink beer and somebody says, "Hey, look for this," and all of a sudden you find it.
And you find it, right?
And not it's there. And
It does taste like shoe leather. I do taste Corinthian leather. Yeah, I got it.
Is that dog hair? Yeah. So it's when we go on. I went on a tour a couple of years ago with some very dear friends, and as a Squire, you get kind of the tour guide talks to you a little more than the rest of the tour.
Right.
You're made to feel special, and that's a really
awesome.
cool thing that they do. There's no cost to do this one, but you got to be nominated by somebody else who's a Squire already, and you got to be enough of a Jack Daniels fan that it's time.
Right.
So.
Yep.
And what I also have is I have a 12-inch by 12-inch pot of land. It's a nondescript pot of land, but it has a lot number on the Jack Daniels distillery. I have a place in a Facebook, it's just a Squires Only Facebook page, where anytime somebody's going for a tour, 3,000 other Squires go, "Hey, can you go mow my plot when you're there?" Yeah.
Well, when I go, I will mow your plot.
It's the funny joke. But you also you're expected to know a little bit more when you're there too. So we did an Angels Share tasting, and while we were here tasting and stuff tasting Jack, old number 7,
Right.
Old number 7. There's no number 6 and there's no number.
Right.
There's no rhyme or reason why there's no number 7.
Okay, that was good. I was going to ask that.
There's just no reason to it. But they've got number 7. They've got 27 gold, which most Jack Daniels is aged in sugar maple barrels. They're charged sugar maple barrels, and they're mellow, or they're aged in oak barrels, but they're mellow and charged sugar maple. Okay? So the sugar maple charcoal is what mellows the whiskey, and that's what gives it the sweetness. But they're aged in oak barrels. 27 is aged in maple barrels. So this 27 stuff that they just started coming out with, that's another Sinatra. That's of all the things I tasted, those emeralds. That 27 was my favorite. Well, you taste Sinatra and you taste barrel proof and all that stuff. And so the person giving the tour says, what proof is this one? And everybody's shouting stuff out. And you taste the barrel proof. And it's between 110 and 140 proof typically.
Wow.
And they ask, what's the proof? And I said, no, this can't be any more than 110 proof. This one's really low.
Right.
And she said, okay, what's the Squire thing? And so we're in a group of like 30 people.
Yeah.
She said, what's the Squire thing? Everybody's like, oh, the Squire. And I went, it's around 130 proof. And she said, it's 130.4 proof.
Nice.
And you see the people I was with just kind of leaned across the table and going, but
You just give them the.
I gave a strike. Wild guess, and I was just close. Everybody there, so good. Everybody there hated me.
That's funny. That's good stuff. So no.
So I like Jack Daniels.
So how did you get into Jack Daniels? Like, what was did you just okay, I like this one day, or was there a reason why you like? People were like, oh, I like Jack Daniels because Leonard Skinner. Like, I like Jack Daniels because I'm a huge Blue Eyes fan. I'm a huge Sinatra fan, and I knew that was his drink of choice. So that's why, plus I'm a Navy guy, so, kind of goes hand in hand. And then I really, that was what I started drinking when I was of legal age. I was drinking. Go to the bar and get a Jack and Coke. That was like the first legal non-beer drink that I had. And I just, ever since, I've been loyal to it, and that's what I love.
So I get that. I don't have any. If somebody makes a whiskey better than that, I want to be like Tiger Woods. If somebody makes a better bowl than Nike, I get to play it. If somebody makes a whiskey that's better, I'm going to drink that. I like what I like.
Yes.
And I'm unapologetic about it. And I don't want to be like the guy that likes Jack Daniels more than anybody else. I simply like that's what I drink, and when I find something that makes me feel that, I drink that. Sometimes I drink wine. Sometimes I drink beer. But I can't remember how I got into it. I went through a couple of iterations. I think through your youth, through your 20s and your 30s, you kind of figure out how you behave, what your drinking behavior is, and what your behavioral drinking is. So there's drinking behavior, and that's how you drink.
Yes.
And then there's behavioral drinking. That's how you behave once you drunk what you
Right. So the whole you drink brown. Look, you can ask Brenda. She can attest to this. When we were dating, I was in Paris and I had one or two Jack Daniels that night, and I used to be when I drank anything brown liquor, and I tend to get mean.
Yeah.
I tend to be mean when and that was just I was young.
Yeah.
I think I was 30 and 31, and but as I've grown up, I've learned to appreciate it more, and I'm not that way anymore.
Yeah,
yes, but I always had that.
You mature, you age well.
Yeah.
So, I think I went through, the let's pound a 30 rack of Coors Light type those days in my 20s, and then I switched over to Jim Beam, and I did that for a couple of years. And one night there was no Jim Beam, so I was just drinking like Coors Light. My brother came up to me and was like, "Oh my God, you're so much fun to be around." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, you're drinking Coors Light, not that other stuff. You're fun to be around." I'm like, "Man, it's been 2 years. What was I?" He's like, "Kind of a jerk." And I went,
all this
my
time?
feelings tell me. It's been 2 years.
That's funny.
So I stopped drinking hard alcohol and went to beer, and that's where my love for craft beer kind of started, because that was the time when it was the St. Adams World, and Dogfish had just started coming out with their 60 or 90 and stuff. And
120.
So, moonshine. Moonshine, right?
Beer flavored moonshine. Yeah.
Yeah. So so I went through that. And I kind of just mellowed out. And then I found wine, and that was light cheese. Like there's so many different things, and there's no wine lovers are unapologetic about it.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't have to be expensive. If you like it, like it. And then beer got back that way. But in the midst of it, I found that Jack Daniels was a foreseeable and favorable outcome, both with how I enjoyed it and how I behaved when I was drinking it, and how people around me perceived me when I was drinking it. So that became kind of
but it makes you more aware too.
Absolutely, I can order it anywhere. There's not many places that don't serve it, and when I drink it, there's not many people that go, "Geez, I don't want to be around you."
Right.
That's a huge. Like if you're drinking and people say that, stop drinking or stop drinking. Figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right too. Like there's not many places you can go in and say, "Can I get a Jack and Coke neat?" And then or just a Jack meat, and then they'll be like, oh, we don't have that here. I'm like, okay, well, why? Yeah,
There's a couple places in the casino that will not serve it.
really? Why?
I think it's a buyout. I think that Jim Beam from Conglomerate bought them out.
All
So
right.
we'll give you a great deal on this product if you don't sell this product, and that's okay when I patronize those places, because that's
Right.
and it's not a loyalty to Jack Daniels. I just know what I like.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll go someplace that
it goes with everything. Like, you know, I want to say I'm a brand snob. Like, I have things that I like, you know, and I'll go and I only buy those things. I'll try other things, so I'm not like that anal about it.
Like what's a deal breaker?
I don't know.
Try me one thing that you like.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there is. If I really had to think about it, there's probably more than a couple of things that I'm just like, nope, I ain't doing that. I don't want that. I won't drink. But I don't want to bring politics into it, because
Sure.
you know,
No,
there's some
agree.
things right now that don't make me happy, and things that I like, and because of that company's politics, I won't use their brand because of that company's politics.
Personal choice or a vocal boycott?
Personal choice. Yeah,
I don't need to vocally boycott, but I can
Right.
vote with my wallet too.
yeah. But I mean, listen, I like the soap that I like. I've always been an Irish Spring guy. I'm a Crest guy. I'll go out, I'll branch out and get other stuff, but I always come back.
Yeah, no, you're like,
Yeah, I'll try it. You know, listen, you know,
Yeah, totally with you.
the first time I went to boot camp, they gave me this bar of Zest. I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like, I don't want to use this. They're like, you don't have a choice.
It's what we got. Be zesty.
Yeah. So I was zestfully clean for 8 weeks. And then as soon as I was on my own, I was like, I'm going right back to Irish Spring. And I'm still to this day, 32 years later, I'm back.
With
I'm
gonna
still
give it a
in
shout?
Irish Spring every day.
Oh, thank you.
So I got to do some business here, and we are at these guys. If you got a taste for exquisitely crafted beer and pub grub with a fruity flair, These Guys Brewing Company on Franklin Street in Norwich has got what you're craving. Enjoy a variety of classic and unique craft beers brewed on site, and indulge in a delicious meal with seasonal dishes from their scratch kitchen. Check them out on Facebook or online at theseguysbrewing.com to stay up to date with their freshest brews, current menu, and upcoming events. These Guys Brewing Company, where it's all about good times, great food, and fantastic craft beer. And if you're in the market for a used vehicle at a great price, head on down to G&S Auto Sales in Franklin, Connecticut. Take a look at their great selection. BMW, Audi, Dodge, Chevy, and Ford, and so much more. And whether it's an oil change, brake repair, or check engine light, let Pat Wendy and our team of professionals take care of all your automotive needs. That's G&S Auto Sales, located on Route 32 in Franklin, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-383-0050 or find them on the web at www.gnsautosales.llc.com. So if you're watching Pat and Wendy, what up? I know they probably are. Pat watches every week.
Yeah, I might have bought a car or two from Pat.
Yeah,
Always
my
been
next one
happy
I would be
with,
buying from
with the
Pat.
outcome.
Yeah. So,
There's a with Pat, again, favorable and foreseeable outcome.
Yeah.
I've always felt like I got the better end of the deal, and they've never made me feel bad.
No, everybody that's bought a car from G&S Auto Sales is
Yeah.
always happy. I've sent people there; they're happy, and I mean, despite the fact that he's one of my best friends, that's where I'm buying my next car. And
No,
I
if
would
he
buy
was,
it there.
if he was a jerk
I'm
and he
like,
screwed
what?
people, he wouldn't be one of your best friends.
Facts.
Yeah,
So,
I'm with you. We got people watching and commenting. Eric, I apologize for saying the wrong name. One of my good friends is actually the distributor for Jack Daniels locally in the area.
Okay.
Eric Gregg, great guy, and he's the rep that visits every local establishment at the casino. He's just a great guy. So hi Eric, and thanks for tuning in. And
Yeah.
some of this stuff I learned from him.
Oh, awesome. So now listen, we mentioned at the beginning of the show that you and I had a relationship because of our coaching, right? You coach, but I didn't know you until I started coaching at the local high school here in Norwich Free Academy. I coached lacrosse, and your son came to me as a freshman. So his freshman season was also my first season at NFA, and then him and I got along very well. I mean, him and the Sweeney boys. I mean, I made so many lifelong friends. Like your kid is one of my favorite kids I've ever coached. But I mean,
Yeah, he loves you too.
and I appreciate that. And that's the mark of a good coach. When you see a kid after you coach him, a couple of years down the road, and you say, "Hey, what's going on?" They say, "Hey, coach."
Yeah, I still call you.
It is, and I saw a kid that I coach in New Hampshire. I used to coach in New Hampshire. He was playing for a different team, and he came up to me and said, "Hey, coach, what's going on?" Even though I'm not his coach, I haven't been his coach in a couple of years, but that meant everything to me. You know, that's the kind of stuff that you will remember, and that makes every terrible practice and every lopsided loss that makes it worth it every single day.
The garbage sometimes you go through with either an administration or parents.
Yep.
You get a kid that it's kind of like they know you in title and respect, and they'll continue that on because they don't know how to call you any other way. And,
Right.
it's one of the best it's one of the best things I've ever been called.
Absolutely.
I've been called a lot.
Yeah.
That's one of my
Right.
favorites.
It's like dad and then coach, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It really is.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. I mean, I love coaching. That's why I try to walk away because I have other things I want to do, but I end up coming right back. I'm like Michael Corleone, right? I try to go away, but you pull me back in. So
But you're hardwired. At this point, your DNA has been evolved into a coach, and so whether you're on the field with them or not, you're thinking about it. You're thinking about what you're missing when you're not there. I've taken seasons off, and they were tough seasons. I don't know what life would be like without football.
yeah, I mean,
I do actually. I didn't like it very much.
yeah.
So, you think about when it's time to stop, or when you're doing it wrong. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It is, and you don't realize it too because you do it and you just go do it, and you're pushing through the season. And when the season's over, you're just like, wow, where did the time go? All of a sudden, you start the season, and the next thing you know, it's 3 months later. Because you sacrifice a lot. I mean, you have your regular job.
You've been coaching kids that aren't yours,
Yeah,
right? And so most of the coaches for youth league are there, and they're with their kids and coaching their kids. There's a lot of coaches that don't have kids playing. Some of them have moved to paying positions with AAU and Premier, and I'll probably stay away from that conversation because I have very specific feelings on coaching a 10-year-old and getting paid for it. But most of the coaches that your kids will engage in their youth are volunteer moms and dads, and they're there simply because somebody has to do it.
right.
And some of them become really passionate about it, and they follow along. There are some of them, when you run into the one that doesn't have kids playing and is just there because they're passionate about it, learn everything you can. That's the coach that I want to know, why they're doing it and what motivates them and what's their favorite thing. Ask those questions as a parent because that's the person that will drum out faster than anybody. They've got the biggest rip toward goal because them leaving doesn't mean their kid doesn't play.
Right.
And that's the guy that will leave faster than anybody, and it's the guy you need the most. That's the coach you need the most. It's the one that has no skin in the game other than like you. Your son is just now getting into high school. And,
Yeah, he'll be a sophomore this year. Yeah, so yeah, he hasn't played a lick of high school lacrosse except for the winter league with NFA. So yeah, I mean, listen, there's been times and we've talked a lot about things where I've come to you when I needed some guidance, and I needed a coach's opinion, and I value your experience and I value your opinion, and you helped me a lot with some of the stuff I was going through, and obviously I came through it all, and now I'm coaching at the collegiate level, so you helped me get to where I'm at, so I appreciate that.
No, I got it. I coach with you. You're a player's coach. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for you.
Sometimes.
To hear. No, but for you to hear.
Right.
But you imbue yourself to the players. You're less about how they perform, but more about how they feel and how they act and passion when they perform well. Because I think that's a means to an end.
Right.
I think that the players that play for you love playing the game. And if in my heart of hearts, if we could just get back to that, we resolve most of the problems that are created by overindulgent parents who think that their 8-year-old is a D1 prospect.
So, speaking of that, you saw my post the other day when I was up in New Hampshire at my son's lacrosse tournament. And I posted on Facebook and I said, gee, I love parents that coach scream at their kids on the sidelines, and you said something, and it definitely resonated because I'm not that parent. I want, like, with every ounce of my body, I want to yell at my kid from the sidelines. But having been that coach on the sidelines, I know what it feels like to hear parents screaming at their kids because A, the kid hates it, and B, the coach, it makes it difficult for the coach to do his job when you're telling your son or your daughter to do something completely opposite of what the coach is telling them to do.
Yeah, we're very, so just a little background. It's my 25th season coaching football. I've probably had 20 of them as a head coach. Ted Koziel bailed me out when I was at Ledger, and then I went to Griswold, and I've been coaching at Norwood Free Academy for the last 5 years. So most of it's been in youth league and probably 8 to 10 in high school between Ledger and
Teddy is also
Norwood Free Academy.
Teddy's also my other guy I go to when I need coaching advice.
Ted's forgotten more about my head coaching, dealing with parents and logistical issues, and really he's phenomenal. And I was blessed to have him as kind of a partner in crime for very long. And I totally don't have the coaching experience that I got without him. He's just very smart.
Right.
And not just X's and O's, like culture.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
I'm a culture guy. Above everything, I'm a culture guy. And if you just try to focus culture on the players, you'll fail.
Yeah.
Culture has to bleed into the parents. It has to bleed into the spectators, the administration, and it has to be like at the academy. We're blessed to have a coach in Jason Koulis that is a culture first guy. You can't be a bad guy and be one of us.
Right. That's evident. Just my time there at NFA, being around Jason. I struck up conversations with him before, but just that little snippets of conversation, and I watch him as his coach because I'm that guy too that will watch. I'm not even have to talk to you. I might just watch you. I might watch the way you carry yourself and the way you talk to your players on the field, and I will learn from that. And I watched him practice, and I watched him put his kids through their off-season workouts, and I learned a lot from him. And I know that the team culture for him is very important.
It's all culture.
It's very, very, very evident when you walk in there, and that's something I took with me to Mitchell because that's a small school, and you're just lucky to have who you have to play. You're trying to field a team there, but the kids that want to play, they're there, and those are the kind of kids you want on your team. You don't want the kid that's there because I want to break records. I want the stats. You want the kids that play because they just love you.
Well, if that kid wants to break records and he wants stats, I'm totally good with it. As long as he is an ambassador for our culture to everybody else that sees us.
Right.
Our culture has to be pure enough that it weeds bad people out. When you have good culture and you have good people doing good things, the tree prunes itself. Bad people don't survive in good culture. So we had last year's senior team, and I don't want to just NFA, but we had 28 seniors last year. 15 got offered to play at the next level. 8 of them committed. We have 19 people playing at the next level now.
That's great.
Some of these guys don't necessarily go to college without this. We have 3 playing at JUCO prepping because they're potential D2, D1 prospects from just this graduating class. It's culture is what got them there. Our coaching staff cares more about the development of the human being than the X's and O's of any stretch because we had guys sit because of behavioral problems or because of lack of effort. They sit.
Right.
We're not going to play somebody who doesn't come to our culture. The best thing that I see, and 25 years of doing this, I never. If you showed up late, your playing time is affected. If you missed a practice, your playing time is affected. I've actually said, Billy, I'm sorry that your grandpa died. Tommy's getting the start. I know you have a wake to go to. I'm just offer my condolences to your family. No excused absences. There are only absences. And absences always affect playing time. 100% of the time, every stretch, nothing's excused.
Yeah.
And what that do is it purified our culture enough that people stop being mixed.
Yeah, listen, when you have somebody, to me, that's the mark of a good coach. Like when you have a guy that's out there, and you might have your best player, like if you have a star quarterback, like this guy he's All-American, and you know that, and everybody knows that he's All-American. But if Johnny the All-American gets in trouble at school, if he skips a class and he gets caught and he gets detention, And then everybody wants to know, well, how come Johnny All-Star is not playing? Why isn't he starting the game? And that coach right there, he's like, because that's my rule.
Violation of team rules.
Exactly.
Well, what did he violate? That's not your business.
It's not your business.
It's not your business. Correct. I'm gonna protect because he's my guy. Like it's between me and his parents and administration. But our decisions are, and I've been in environments where parents threaten like to sue, and they get really angry because their youngster isn't getting the accolades they want or the playing time they want. And here's the issue: it's like at the academy, we're blessed. We have 6 dedicated freshman coaches.
That's great.
There's an emphasis put on getting our guys through their first year and acclimated to our culture. And we welcome them in. There's brothers. Like the older kids are like, hey, you got to be a part of this. It's really big for them to do that. But there's also a whole set of the hand that goes up as the son. We don't do that here. Like, we're not doing it.
I like that. And I like that.
We're going to teach young men how to be good men.
Yeah.
That's all We're on a football team. It's learning football on the way of being good.
Listen, when you sign up as a coach, when you sign up, and you say, hey, I will coach, and you sign that agreement to coach, you're not just signing on to teach X's and O's. Okay, you are not just the X's and O's guy. And some guys forget that because a lot of those kids that are there, and you know this from being at the academy, some of them don't have a structured home life. They don't have that father figure. You may not say, well, I'm not a babysitter. That's the kind of coach you don't want that says I'm not a babysitter. Because we aren't babysitters, but we're a father figure to a lot of those kids.
If you feel like that, go. It's not, if
you don't
feel
want
like what you're doing is
exactly.
babysitting, you're mentoring.
Correct.
You're mentoring.
You're teaching them life skills outside of their home.
Like some of these guys aren't a station, and we talk about station frequently, especially with the freshmen. Your station right now is not where you should be later. You should outgrow your station no matter where it is. Seek to outgrow it. Your station may be set because you came from an environment where you might be in a single parent home, and your parent might be undereducated. But that doesn't mean that you have to stay there. And that's not it's an ipso facto condition and a fact of business in the city that we coach. We want every kid to know that you have opportunities based on what your effort, your behavior is, and how you network with people. How seek people that are successful. And we're going to put successful people in front of them, and we want you to model successful behavior. And one way or another, we're really going to push them to grow out of where they are from freshman to senior, 4 years with us. And if we can't get them to move toward a goal or toward what their dream is, we fail. And we talk, especially at the freshman level, we do something, Scott, called the eulogy exercise. And I talk about this in my professional life, my business life. I've done this in front of Fortune 500 CEOs, COOs, CFOs. The eulogy exercise is where we get 2 people together that don't know each other. We give them 15 to 30 minutes to find out the information they would need to deliver a compelling eulogy at their funeral.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
We find out more about these kids through that exercise than we ever would have. And what we find out is what makes them tick, and what they love, and what they're passionate about. And they have to, and these kids also have to deliver that eulogy.
Right.
So we, as coaches, we're taking notes. Oh my goodness! So Malika's talking about Jaden, and Zachary is talking about Jakai, and we find out a ton. And what we find out is that these kids have issues far removed from anything that I have. And you might want to be in tune with that when the kid makes a mistake on the field that he might not have the best.
It's all about knowing your kids. And I learned that. So that translates to my naval career, being a chief petty officer in the Navy. And one of the first things I learned was you got to know who your people are. You know what makes your people tick. You're not just there. Listen, we all know. Everybody knows. If you're in the military, you know the mission always comes first. Mission and your mission. Those are the 2 things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have to have it. There's a human element to it, to leadership, that some people don't get, right? Because anybody can be an iron fist, a dictator. They can say it's my way or the highway. Yeah, this is the way we're doing things.
But a Navy chief is the coach on the boat.
Correct.
He's the guy.
You're not. But if you're that guy who's like, it's my way or the highway. This is how we're doing it. I don't care what you think. That guy's not successful because you're only successful as your worst performer.
Yeah, and I'm way. It's my way of the highway.
Exactly.
But I'm way that way.
But no, you are. But you
But I'm
put
more.
that human element into that, and you do that.
It's just what you have been doing has got you this.
Yes.
Try what I'm asking you to do, and let's move it forward.
Yes, there's a way to deliver that, and that's part of being a leader is knowing how to make bad news into good news.
Yeah,
That's the key thing to being a leader.
My-
You
my
got to
fa-
turn bad news into good news.
My players from the '90s through the late '90s, through probably 2005, they're going to call me soft, but we've done a lot better job of getting in the kids' helmet and understand what they got going on in their personal lives. We really have to, and once you get that, you can kind of figure out what motivates them better, and you can be a better leader for them. But you got to know you're totally right. That Navy experience, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe understand that leadership role better. Because listen, all the leadership schools in the world can't teach you how to be that. Either you can or you can't. Right? Being a leader, you either are or you are not.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, they're not born; they're bred.
Correct.
I've seen there's 20 different types of leadership, and you've got the silent guy that doesn't say anything but outworks everybody in the weight room, outruns everybody in the sprints and gassers. You got the really vocal guy that wants to be Mr. Popular, but dogs it every damn time, but they still listen to him.
Right.
They all have value. You just want to get that guy that dogs it. Hey, you're a fraud.
Yeah.
Help me help you. But you kind of need them all in certain ways and plug them in where it's needed. That's kind of again, the maturity of the coach is figuring out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Especially with that, are they going home feeling valued and loved by their experience in football that day, or they feel beat down? And if they feel beat down, then you understand that that's a self-inflicted wound.
Yeah. Because sometimes you got to break them down and build them back up again, right? You know how it goes, right?
Self-inflicted.
But then listen, and that's
you
part
did bad, you feel bad.
That's part of the reason I brought you on tonight, Jeff, because I really wanted to talk to that. I know it's not a beer-related thing, but it's something that's important to me, and that's part of my show is I wanted to talk about things that are important to me and get them out there, because there are people that listen and watch the show that care about those things, and they want to hear, hey, maybe something that we talked about, well, maybe that will flick a switch with somebody that's doing this and be like, hey, cool, that's a great idea. Maybe I'm going to try that. You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that, besides the beer and talking about booze all the time, that's part of the reason why I do what I do. So, before we get talking about more booze again,
Pay some bills.
What's that?
Pay some bills. Man.
Yeah, and pay some bills for Unified CT. Now, my awesome marketing lady, Laura, she was here, and her and Morgana is the owner of 86th over in Norwich on Route 12.
Yeah.
I went there last night. It's a great spot. So thanks for coming in, Morgana. It was nice to meet you yesterday. That's a great little spot. They have a little patio out back that goes down the stairs with a little bar. They got a fire pit. They got some nice picnic tables. The food is fantastic. So she just brought me a bunch of business cards. So thanks for that. And she runs a company called Unified CT. Unified CT is a local full-service marketing and branding agency that helps your business strategize, develop, and implement a marketing plan using the best platforms and materials to connect you with the right customers quickly. Find them on Facebook at Unify CT or Instagram at Unify_CT, or call Laura directly at 860-326-6003. And one more bill I got to pay here is my good friend Chris. He lives up in Maine. Okay, and we serve together. We're all shipmates. You know the bond, the shipmate bond, right? You always have that bond. Even if you serve with the guy on one ship for 1 year, you always have that bond because you remember each other and you're friends forever. You might see that guy maybe once every 10 years, but when you see the guy, it's like you never were apart. You picked it up right where you left off.
Call them the same vulgar names that you did.
You did.
15 years ago. Yeah.
And I don't see Chris often, but we talk occasionally, and he watches the show. So thanks, Chris, if you're watching. He owns a business up in Maine, and he wanted to be part of the show. And he owns a business called White Rock Stump Grinding up in Maine. White Rock Stump Grinding and Tree Service is a fully insured, veteran-owned stump removal business located in Gorham, Maine. Serving communities from Kennebunk to Lewiston. If you have a stump you would like removed, call Chris at 207-730-0642 and on Facebook at White Rock Stump Grinding. So thank you guys for being part of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. And I'm here with, if you're just tuning in, why are you so late? I'm here with Jeff. We've had some great talks tonight. We talked about a little bit about Jack Daniels. We talked about our coaching experiences, and we drank some good beers. And we are live on location here at These Guys Brewing Company in Norwich, Connecticut, on Franklin Street. If you're a local and you haven't been here yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. They make great beers here. The food here is fantastic. Now Ray, Becca's husband, Ray, he's the one that comes up with all the great ideas. And I don't know if you saw a couple weeks ago they had that ribeye, the 8-ounce ribeye.
Come on.
Did you have it? Did you come in and
I
have
didn't
it?
have it, but I have a lot of Ray's. Ray's a very talented food expert. He's a sommelier. I don't know if you know. He's an actual.
I did not know
He's a
this.
sommelier. He's a trained wine expert. His knowledge of wine, he's forgotten more about it than I'll ever know.
Wow.
And he spent years in the casino industry.
I didn't know that he was that possible. Yeah.
But he really does, and he's still got a passion for it. When I get together with him socially, he talks about food. He talks about kind of, I tried this and I do this, and so he was talking about this special grilled cheese that he makes that he won't put on the menu because it's just ostentatious as hell. But I can't wait to try it. He really puts his heart and soul into it.
Yeah, the food here, if you go online, just go online and look at the menu. Follow them on Facebook, These Guys Brewing Company, and they post their food specials daily. I mean, the food specials are enough to bring you in here. If you're not a beer person and you're a foodie, this is a great place to come because they have a full bar, they have wine. It's very spacious. They have an outdoor seating area. If you're not comfortable being indoors yet with other people, there's an outdoor seating area here where there used to be their parking area, and they can seat people comfortably, and it's fantastic. And the beer here is great. They always have great guest beers. I look up on the board right now and I see Nebco up there, and North Coast Old Rasputin's up there, and good beers. They have good guest beers to complement their own beers. And I've learned to really appreciate what they do here. And then after I met Becca and Ray, man, we met before you introduced Becca and I. Sure. Last time we came here and had dinner that night. But I really got to know her last week and what makes her the person she is and how she came up with this great idea and how she's created this awesome place that we're in right now. And I thank them very much for allowing me to come here and stay, and the staff here has stayed late. Thank you, ladies. Thanks for staying late and letting me finish my show tonight. This is a great spot. So again, this is These Guys Brewing Company. We are on Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut. If you're a local person, please come out here and try the beer, try the food. You will not be disappointed. And then please, if you do that, please give me some feedback on my show. Leave a message on my Instagram, wherever you want to leave it. So that's going to about do it tonight. Jeff, I thank you for coming in, brother.
Thanks for having me.
And I know there's a lot going on, and you're a busy man. I know you're going on vacation tomorrow, so thanks for squeezing me in. Thanks again to Becca and Ray and the staff here at These Guys for having us. And thanks for tuning in, folks. And you can find me probably tomorrow at some point. You can find this episode number 5 on YouTube. You can find it on iTunes Radio or iTunes Podcast. You can find it on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, and Google Podcasts. So once again, thanks for tuning in. This is Just a Guy with a Beer with Scott Fryer, live from These Guys Brewing Company, and we are signing off. Stay tuned next week. We'll have a great episode Monday night, and we'll see you then. And don't beer shame.